Spiral, the only anime podcast cursed to wander the earth, subsisting solely on the thin blood and smooth brains of isekai fans. It's Halloween edition.
Ooh.
Woo.
This is the 2024 Halloween Spooktacular.
Yes. And we have watched lots of scary anime, haven't we, Nate?
Bleh, I want to suck your anime.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Blood Sea.
Sure, or
right?
Blood Plus. That's another one.
Blood Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just Blood, the movie.
Yeah. Seraph of the End. Mm-hmm, what do you think about that? Shiki.
Higurashi When They Cry.
Yeah. Bakemonogatari.
Oh,
but
for
only
sure.
the vampire girl parts. Blood Block Brigade.
That you're making that up. That's not a real title.
That's real.
Okay.
It's Blood Blockade Battlefront. Excuse me. I was pretty close.
Bloodborne.
Devil's Line, of course.
Devilman Crybaby.
Devilman Cry. Wait, no, they're not vampires. They're devils.
I don't need to know what kind of vampire they are.
Vampire Knight, of course. That's a big one.
Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate.
Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate. Obviously, Vampire Hunter D. And Bloodlines. Naturally. What about the yaoi, the sexy yaoi one?
Descendants of Darkness.
Trinity Blood.
Oh.
No, not Descendants of Darkness. That's a good one. Trinity Blood. That was the one.
Okay, all right.
Trinity Blood. Did you know that there was a Blade anime? Did we talk about that in the Marvel?
No, we never talked about the Blade anime.
Episode? Yeah, there was a Blade anime.
Okay, well, that's definitely has vampires in it.
Devil May Cry? Were there vampires in the Devil May Cry anime?
There was a sexy bat lady, but she didn't suck blood. So
I don't remember much of that.
I don't know. Take that how you will.
It was on the Crunchyroll streaming channel the other night, and I caught a little bit of it. It was bad.
I remember that anime.
It's not good.
Oh gosh, what else?
The shut-in vampire, princess vampire.
Oh yeah, sure. Mayonaka Punch. That's recent.
Mayonaka Punch.
Yeah.
Right. Rosario vampire. Rosario plus vampire. That was
Dance in the Vampire Bund. Remember that one?
Sure. Yes. In the garden, in the wall. That was the Netflix one.
Yeah.
In the walled garden.
That new that episode of Uzumaki / that chapter of Uzumaki with the mosquito ladies. They're vampires.
Are mosquito men vampires?
Yes.
I was talking about this recently.
No, definitively. The Mansquito is a vampire. The mosquito ladies from Uzumaki are vampires.
Oh, what about Castlevania? Of course.
Well,
Castlevania.
I was trying
vampires
to,
all over the place.
I was trying to sidestep the obvious answer.
Oh.
I'm
trying to avoid that one.
What
about obviously JoJo Phantom Blood? That's a pretty on the nose vampire.
Dio is a vampire in the sense that I guess he has fangs and that's all you need to be a vampire.
No, he's weak to sunlight.
Yeah, but so are demons. And orcs.
Yeah, but he drinks blood and he's weak to sunlight. That is a vampire, 100%.
I thought that he did the thing where he just kind of absorbed people's life force just by touching them. He didn't need to actually suck their blood, did he?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched Phantom Blood.
Sure.
Oh, Call of the Night, of course. I read so much of that. Why did I forget that one?
Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII.
Sure.
Although he's just a goth. He's not really a vampire.
He is kind of just a goth. Yeah.
He's a goth with superpowers, but he doesn't need to drink blood.
The only thing that makes me want to revisit, go back and try to finish the Final Fantasy VII remake is I want to know if you can date Vincent.
You think? You think they'd be that brave?
If you could go on the Ferris wheel with Vincent, I think I would want to see.
That would be enough to convince you to go back and finish it?
I'm curious. I want to see if they're brave enough to do that.
Well, when I eventually play the PC release of that, I'll let you know.
Okay, I'll leave that one to you. It's Halloween.
Boy, is it.
Boy, it's
the
Halloween.
spookiest time of year. The ghosts and goblins are out. They're leaving mean comments online about us, spreading vicious rumors.
God, I wish if we could even get that. That would be great.
No, I'm trying to seed the idea. Like, it's a thing. I'm using psychology.
I love my haters.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know if I've said that
of which
enough.
there
I actually
are
love
many.
my haters.
There are many people out there talking about us all of the time. I want you all to internalize that fact as we go forward.
I've been saying it since the beginning. If we just started saying like really inflammatory shit, just really crazy shit to just piss people off, I think it would be a good strategy.
Well, it worked for InfoWars.
Yeah.
And he's doing fine right now.
Yeah, he's doing great, actually. I don't know if you've kept up with that case, but he's loving life right now.
No.
Sure, we would lose the respect of people we care about, but we would have podcast listeners. It seems like a fair trade to me.
At this point, just considering everything else going on in the world, I'd take that trade.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'd take that trade in an instant. Give me the elk meat and DMT money. I'll build a podcast compound down in Texas too.
Look, it's Halloween, and to me, there is nothing scarier than putting all this effort into this fucking podcast and only 2 people listening to it. That scares the shit out of me. Keeps me up at night, honestly.
Cold sweats.
I'm going to a Halloween party tomorrow, dressed as that. And I do intend to explain it to everybody there.
No, my costume is the existential dread of my podcast failing.
My complete and utter irrelevance in this world. Can't you tell?
Actually, well, I mean, if there's going to be a lot of other millennials there, I'm sure they'll get it right away.
Did you consider dressing as Dignity?
It's funny that you say that because I was scrolling through costumes right now.
Yeah.
Like literally right now as we talk, and someone posted their Dignity costume of, the bit from The Simpsons.
Holy shit, really?
It's pretty good.
I just thought of that and somebody's already done it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a couple's costume. Like your Dignity, and then your couple is Luann. And she's like looking confused, I guess.
Dignity, Luann, you ever heard of it?
You could hand out.
Can I borrow a feeling?
Can I borrow a feeling? Cassette tapes of it.
Oh, that was my only demo tape.
That would kill. That would absolutely kill.
That'd be really good.
In the 28 to 35 demographic.
I think in that same vein, do the dud from the dating board game.
Oh yeah,
in the beach house episode. Have like a door frame that you hold in front of you, and when they open it, it's the dud.
Yeah, that would be really good.
And then you have someone dressed as Homer doing the reaction face.
If you just went through and you were like, here's the best to good to easy ratio of Simpsons costumes, I really think literally right there in the golden dead center is the Surly Duff outfit from Duffland. Like that's good shit.
That's such a deep dive. I'd have to give so much respect to anyone that does it, that pulls it off.
Yeah, but the nice part is, since it's like it's a costume, like people would just be like, oh, you're dressed as a beer. And you could act drunk and be like, I'm surly. And like, even without the Simpsons context, I think it works.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you done any Halloween stuff, Nate?
Well, funny you should ask. I went on possibly
Hold on. Is it related to anime?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then continue.
I just got back from a trip to Salem, Massachusetts. Tricked you, fucker. This has nothing to do with anime.
Oh, come on. I reiterated just 2 episodes ago that this is an anime podcast.
Sorry. I guess they should make an anime about witches, which has never been done before. I've never seen it.
Wait, what about Witch Hunter Robin?
Nope, that's not an anime.
Damn, that's fucked up. What about Kiki's delivery service? Was she a witch?
No.
I'm pretty sure she was a witch.
No, she was more of a hedge woman.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. She was a gig worker.
Yeah.
She was a Grubhub.
now that you bring that up, like, how is there not like a modern anime about a gig economy for witches at this point? Witches seem to be pretty big in pop culture right now, you know?
If you consider, and this could be a longer conversation, but if you consider magical girls witches, which I do think you could make the case for, then Magi Lumiere Co. is that. I mean, it is literally that. I
think that to qualify as a witch, at least in anime, you have to have a pointy hat and you have to have a broom that you ride. I think those are the two biggest requirements. So
the girls in Magi Lumiere Co. do ride on brooms, but they don't have pointy hats.
But they do ride on brooms?
They do ride on brooms.
Do they have animal companions?
They have company credit cards.
Good enough. Yeah, they're witches. I'll give it to them.
Yeah, I think they're witches.
Yeah.
They cast magic.
Magic.
I'm pretty sure one of the characters in Puelli Magi Madoka Magica has a pointy ass hat, and they all have familiars, and they probably ride on brooms. It's been a while since I watched it.
So yeah, that's a witch.
I think this is a strong case. I think this is a strong case that magical girls are witches.
Okay, well then they made the anime. My mistake. I think it is funny though that the plot of a kids movie, Kiki's Delivery Service, is that it's just traditional to, like Pokemon, kick your 10-year-old out like at some point when you just don't want to deal with him anymore, I guess. And like, all right, go get a job. You're magic, I guess.
Have you seen Old Enough? Because it seems to be a Japanese tradition.
Oh, my mother-in-law watches that show obsessively. It's kind of weird.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's the one about the little babies that they give like chores to.
Yeah, the little tiny babies have to go pick up their dad's cigarettes at the corner store.
Well, if the baby goes to get the cigarettes and that doesn't give the dad a chance to leave, right? It's a safety mechanism. If the dad goes to get the cigarettes, he's not coming back.
That is true. It's a way to keep him fenced in. At the beginning of Domu, the Katsuhiro Otomo comic, that is very, very good. One of the most important inciting incidents of the entire comic is the single mom sending her maybe 6-year-old daughter out of the apartment complex to buy her cigarettes. just I know it was the 80s. It was like Otomo's 80s.
You know, that's the classic hero's journey starting point. The hero is cast out from his comfort zone to get cigarettes for the wizard before he can unlock his true potential. And
she had just moved in too, so she wasn't familiar with the neighborhood either. So I was like, that's a high level of trust.
What I'm saying is, I don't think that I would trust a 10 or 13-year-old witch with a delivery service in a big city like that. It seems I don't know. It seems irresponsible, especially considering the giant blimp crash she caused at the end of that movie.
It's true. In America, I mean, these days with cultural values shifting so dramatically, you're not even allowed to trick or treat on your own until you're around 24.
Nope. It's strictly trunk or treating up until then.
Yes. Now. Shameful. If you do that, shame on you.
I mean, I get it. I want to say I get it. Like, of course, I prefer the nostalgia of going around house to house as a kid, getting candy, looking at all the cool decorations. But, like, this is me up on my old man yells at cloud box here. But no one in my fucking neighborhood is decorating their house. We don't even have fucking sidewalks. It's bleak. It's bleak out here for a Halloween environment these days. So if the kids have to go to a parking lot to get a semblance of that same experience, so be it. I'd rather have them have that than nothing at all.
I guess since like most kids are not going to be like buying weed from like sketchy dudes, they're never going to have another experience where they can drive to an empty parking lot to do a swap.
Yeah. Now that weed is legal and they just go into a store to buy it after school.
Yeah. They'll never have to pull off on the side of the road to meet some sketchy asshole who throws you a bag of Snickers bars, I guess.
They'll never have the experience of waiting behind a gas station and a weird man literally jumping out of a bush to ask if you want to buy weed from him.
He just gives you a handful of Reese's Pieces, not even like in a bag, just loose. He pulls them out of his pocket and pours them into your hand.
Yeah, they're homemade.
They're still good.
I pressed them myself.
Why were you in Salem, Nate?
Because it is the Halloween Mecca. I was making a little pilgrimage there with my wife. We wanted to see what was up, and I don't know. It's a fun little town. It was way too cold. It was snowing for a hot minute that we were there.
Oh, that's the dream. A white Halloween.
No, it was a slushy Halloween. It was not white. It was grim and gray.
A gray Halloween.
No, it was we were there visiting some friends that live in Boston on the East Coast, checking out the fall colors, eating the food, taking in the ambiance. We took a drive up to Lee, New Hampshire, which is the site of a big, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember the name of the farm, but they do a big, haunted walkthrough. You know, they set up all these decorations. It's like a haunted maze thing that they do every year. We saw it featured on a documentary that we saw on the Travel Channel about different haunts around the world.
Wow. So you really are that dude now.
We are that dude now. Yeah.
You are that couple.
Yep. So, hey, you know what? I don't regret it. Also, Lee is where Robert Eggers is from. And we got to see the landscape that inspired The Witch, and that was pretty cool.
So that's why he's like that.
That, you know what? I said that exact same thing when we were driving through. So this is why he makes those movies.
I see. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
It's clicking together.
No, it was just a fun little weekend trip to check out some spooky stuff. Man.
Well, can you...
Sorry, I gotta interject one thing. We went to a wax museum in Salem of horror movie monsters and figures. And they are running such a racket there, or they could be, because they don't allow photos inside the museum, but they have a full-on wax dummy setup of the Red Demon from Insidious. Right? Imagine how much money they could be making by charging for selfies with the red guy behind you.
Did they not charge you to go into the wax museum?
No, they did. They charge us $15 at entrance.
Okay, so then they are, because that's the only point of going to a wax museum is to take the selfies.
Well, they said no selfies inside.
Oh, really? And you just blindly obeyed them.
There were cameras. I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get cursed.
You're a wax museum cuck. Nate, did you see an anime costume?
You know what? I saw a surprising amount of Naruto costumes. I didn't know Naruto was still going so strong, but what was the name of the evil organization from Shippuden that had the cloaks that everyone was wearing?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name, but lots of those guys everywhere. Sasuke's big bros friends.
Sasuke's piece of shit older brother.
But I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of Demon Slayer costumes. A lot of the big shonen stuff you'd guess at. Some Bleach here and there. Who's the little short guy from Bleach with the white hair and he has ice powers? I saw 2 or 3 of that guy. It was kind of weird.
Oh, was it Akatsuki?
Akatsuki, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Naruto organization.
I saw a shit ton of Naruto as well when I went out last year, so I am not surprised by that.
Yeah. Surprising amount of shonen anime costumes still out there, still representing across all of the United States from sea to shining sea.
The thing I'm very surprised is, and this was my last minute, this was going to be my last minute pitch because it's so easy, but it's so easy to put a Denji costume together. Last second. It is just sneakers, dress shirt, black pants, tie, and then you just make a little drawstring out of something. That's not hard at all.
Well, what about the fangs?
Well, you know,
Denji has sharp teeth.
Yeah, you don't really need the sharp teeth. I think if you really want to like sell it a little bit harder, get one of those little Pochita keychains and just have that like on you.
Or one of the plushies you can just carry around.
Yeah, or a chainsaw.
That's getting a little elaborate.
To really sell it, just like a little handheld chainsaw, you know.
No, get it. I'm Chainsaw Man. I have a chainsaw. Get it?
I am Chainsaw Man. You know, the guy with the chainsaw
from the end of the
show?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, actually, that if you had Leatherface with the Denji's public safety outfit, come on, don't tell me that's not a good like combo idea.
That's good. That's a pretty good one.
Halloween is the only time that double nerd shirt logic is like not cringy.
Well, I think it's directly proportional to the amount of effort that you put into the costume, right? You know, I think that if you could pull off a Leatherface / Chainsaw Man costume with any amount of skill, like that's big props right there.
You don't need that much skill. I mean, what's the hardest part? The mask, I guess.
Yeah,
the Leatherface mask.
Well, I would stick with the Chainsaw Man head and then have him on a Leatherface body, right? With the leather apron and butcher outfit.
What is the Chainsaw Man head? You mean blonde hair and sharp teeth?
No, the transformed head with the chainsaw.
Yes.
That's on his head.
Yeah, that is a lot of work. And frankly, would be incredibly uncomfortable.
Okay, how about this? It's just Leatherface, but the chainsaw that he's holding is Chainsaw Man's head. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good, but I wouldn't rely on a prop alone.
Well, no, props are a whole other thing that you have to keep track of. They get damaged, you know.
Props are a crutch.
Sometimes they malfunction. It's a logistical nightmare. Believe me.
We all know props are a crutch.
Sorry, Carrot Face.
You can't remember he's like super buff now, so you can't shit talk Carrot Man.
I would not be mad if it was revealed that Carrot Top was one of the 2 people that listens to this podcast and gets really pissed off about the things that we say. I would take that. I would take that fight. Just be like, yeah, Carrot Top, he's our number 1 fan.
There would be no better way for us to go viral than if Carrot Top beat your ass. For an anime opinion. That would really sell the podcast to like millions.
God,
that would be a dream scenario for us.
This is like those Jake Paul exhibition boxing matches that he does.
Yeah.
Like, how can we set this up?
How can you get into a physical fist fight with an over-the-hill prop comic?
I know that if we put our heads together, we can figure this one out.
What about, is there any way we could, like, jump Jeff Dunham?
Well, he is playing in Tacoma in a couple months.
Oh, you got to get in there, man.
All right, this podcast is now about our elaborate plan to sneak into the Tacoma Dome so that I can fist fight Jeff Dunham.
Yeah, you've got to do a WWE promo video where you get backstage at the Jeff Dunham show and just start shit with him in the dress room.
I'm here with notable pansy Jeff Dunham. Hey, little puppet man. Do you think that you can go toe-to-toe with the Nate?
He's trying to steal Ahmed the terrorist. I need that for my show.
He's ruined the set.
People still think that's funny.
He's stolen my terrorist dummy.
People still love that dummy. Even more now.
Yeah.
Anime.
All right. Let's bring
anime.
it home. Let's bring it home. It's Halloween. We watch, I think it's fair to say that we watch more horror movies than the average bear, right?
If I had to guess, I don't want to box myself in.
You know, we're not making sweeping statements about ourselves, but I think it's fair to say that we watch a fair bit of horror movies, at least more than most people. And as we all know, one of the long-standing horror tropes out there that people have long railed against.
Wait, hold on. You really did not watch any horror anime?
Good.
You didn't watch a single scary anime the entire month?
Oh, no.
Nothing?
Well, anime isn't scary.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, This is not good for the show.
I don't know what you want me to say.
This is not good for the show.
Okay, if you want to get into it, animation is an inherently inferior medium to portray fear.
Okay, so you are on the director of Uzumaki's side when he said that thing about anime not being good for horror.
The only option I am left with is to agree with him after the slew of botched Junji Ito adaptations over the years.
Including his own. Yeah.
They almost had it. They almost had it in the first episode. We talked about it.
They could have. They could have taken it all the way if it wasn't for the meddling of these despicable gaijin Americans.
I think the issue is that the level of detail that you have to include in animation because horror as a visual thing relies so much on subtle things, I think, more than we take into account when we're watching horror movies, right? It's the sound design, it's the way the actors, their body movement, their presence in the scene.
Oh, I'm always saying that when I'm watching Freddy versus Jason.
Well, okay, if you want to get into that, Freddy versus Jason isn't scary either.
All right. Look, I'll say it as I did, okay? And it's not even like that, okay? Because,
you watch some more anime.
I did, and even to your point, it doesn't even have to be scary because, look, I burned through all of Interview with the Vampire because it 'tis the season, right? But there wasn't enough of it. I did really. There's only 15 episodes, and I tore through that shit. Because it's good. It's good, folks.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm not even a huge Anne Rice fan, but that show is fucking great. God damn, it's good. But I ran out of it so fast, and so the other night I was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm coming down from Interview with the Vampire. I went to see if To Live and Die in L.A. was streaming anywhere, and it's not. I wanted my Willem Dafoe fix, but it's not even on Amazon. I couldn't even pay for it. So I did end up rewatching a bunch of Dorohedoro, which is still on Netflix.
Well, that's a good choice. It's spooky in theme, and it's all about masks. That's pretty Halloween-y.
Yes, Dorohedoro is the Halloween anime. I mean, there's lots of scary stuff. We've talked about scary anime before. You say that, but I've defended Shiki a bunch of times. I think that's legitimately scary and great. Stuff like Paranoia Agent is very scary. There is stuff out there, right?
I mean, Paranoia Agent is very scary, but it also literally gave Satoshi Kon cancer and killed him.
That's also scary. That's it's cursed. And, there's kind of more traditional J-horror anime as well. It's stuff kind of in the Ringu mold. Including some manga I've read. Manga tends to be scarier than anime, I would say, if I had to wade in there.
Well, it's about pacing. In a manga, you are allowed to set the pace, and if you are reading something, generally, if you're reading a horror manga or a horror story in general, you're looking to be scared, and so you kind of police the way you pace out the story in the way that you think is going to be most scariest.
Yeah, I slowed down my eyeballs to just a snail's crawl. Really soaking in all the line work.
You're laughing, but I do linger on a page when I think it deserves it.
Oh, yeah?
When I think the narrative is telling me to.
Dorohedoro is really, really the perfect Halloween anime because it's fun. It's spooky, it's gross, it's gory. Like you said, everyone wears a mask for the most part. There's people riding brooms, like we said before. Lots of broom riding in that show. And the other thing I really like about it, too, in the kind of the horror vein, that I had not really thought about it before, but, I think it obscures it a little bit because there, quite literally is a hell in Dorohedoro. But, the idea of the hole where our main characters all live, being hell, and just hell as a kind of more of your, Hieronymus Bosch-esque, bizarre landscape where people are just kind of trying to get by with their day without getting gobbled up by like some kind of walking monstrosity that just happens to be crossing the street or whatever is such a beautiful portrayal and also very hopeful to me. And I had never, this last watching, that had kind of been my dominant thought while I went through it, was how, like, what a beautiful hell the whole is in Dorohedoro. Really, really striking to me in this most recent rewatch, which is probably maybe my third time through.
I mean, it's great. It's one of the all-time great manga for me. One of my favorites. My favorite thing about the way it's set up, its cosmology in Dorohedoro, is that, generally, you have the standard trifecta of like Earth or the human world or whatever you want to call it, and then heaven and hell. No, Dorohedoro has wizard world, and then the whole, which is hell, and then it has super hell, where all the demons are from.
Yes. Well, and hell in that way is kind of a traditional hell where they just torture people who are dead. But also because the devils are sort of like almost Greek gods.
Yeah.
It is also sort of like Mount Olympus, where like the gods dwell, Well,
my watch partner, who is reading through Dorohedoro right now,
yes.
One of the things that they said to me that really struck a chord was they said they liked how the demons aren't really evil in the sense that they are Machiavellian in their plotting and they have some kind of nefarious goal that they're working for. It's more that each demon is just a being of pure id and exists solely to do whatever it wants to do in that one moment.
Yes.
And so they pointed out, the story displays this with Nikaido's transformation into a demon. And like, what does she want to do after she becomes an all-powerful super demon? She wants to make magic gyoza because that's what she liked doing the most when she was a regular person.
Yeah. When they rise above human concern and they are all powerful, it is exactly that thing that like so many shows and movies and comics and whatnot get wrong about the ultra powerful being like, I am above human morality, right? That they constantly do. In fact, they do it in Interview with the Vampire, which I feel like is a completely wrong application of it. Because Interview with the Vampire, the vampires like Lestat, de Liancourt, have the ability to set things on fire with their mind. Lestat himself can fly. He can just fly. They have super strength. They have like hyper speed. They can hypnotize people, but they're not like all powerful. But they will do the whole "we are beyond human morality," which is stupid because they're not. Like, that's kind of a big thing in the Anne Rice-averse is they aren't really. Side note too, the show, Louis de Poindulac in the show, he's a black man. It's a big change. And he's a black man who grew up in the late 1800s to early 1900s, suffered an extraordinary amount of racism, right? And lives up to and through World War II. But the show never blinks an eye when it uses the vampires are the master race language.
Hey, ho, ho.
It's a very big missed opportunity, big blind spot where like, a black man who lived through World War II calling himself part of the master race. I just feel like there was something they could have done there that they chose not to.
I don't know. I feel like maybe someone had that idea and a script reviser or producer said like, no way in hell we're going to do that plot line.
They could have addressed it. I feel like it stands out more without anybody pointing it out,
I, for one, am glad that they're not making my vampires woke anymore. I think we need less woke vampires.
Well, everyone in that show is gay, so they are not beating the woke vampire rap.
Oh, didn't you hear being gay isn't woke anymore?
Oh, really? They changed it?
Yeah, they changed it.
I didn't read the new gay patch notes. Anyway, my point was in Dorohedoro, unlike stuff like Interview with the Vampire, where they're all powerful beings, but they're essentially, it's the old you humans trope. The demons don't even interact with people in that way. They don't give the whole we are beyond human rally, you humans thing. They are just creatures who do exactly what they want, whether it's horrifying, whether it's silly, whether it's completely nonsensical, whether it's pointless, whether it is occasionally helpful or heroic or whatever. It is literally just nonsense, which is, to me, the absolute pinnacle of expressing that idea.
Yeah.
Just nonsense.
Well,
like the devils early on when the characters, they're just very small details that stood out to me again watching this, where there are devils in the magician's world when they are like renting a hotel room when they're on kind of on the sly. And when the sun comes up, there's a devil just flying over the houses screaming, "Sun up! Sun up! Sun up!" screaming it. And then the sun goes down later, and then there are two of them just flying around going, "Sundown! Sundown!" It's just so incredibly funny.
See, I was thinking of the scenes that we get where later on in the manga, where it is the group of what are basically tourist devils getting like a guided vacation tour as they watch the events of the main characters happening. They're just they are literally us, the audience, doing the same thing, watching the story.
Yes.
And being like, haha, isn't it funny how fucked over they are right now?
Whoa, that's crazy. Look at these weird guys. What are they going to do next?
Yeah. I love that. I think like, oh, the devils are the exact same as us, the reader. You know, they're just kind of in the diegetic sense, they're omnipotent and omnipresent and just watch everything as it happens.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool concept.
It's not annoying like it usually is in all other fucking properties where they're like, hey, let's acknowledge that the audience is all powerful.
Well, because it comes with this added gravity of knowing like these devils could literally fix the entire plot, you know, at any moment if they wanted. That's how powerful they are.
Yeah. And sometimes they kind of do.
And sometimes they do interject when they think it would be funny or interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of like an editor saying, hey, your character should do this.
Hey, it'd be funny or interesting if this happens.
They are like a weird meta. You know what the devils in Dorohedoro are? They are exactly the same as that bit in old Looney Tunes cartoons where the artist pencil literally comes in and like erases Daffy Duck or whatever.
Yeah. He draws him as a daffodil. I actually saw somebody posting about that the other day.
Yeah.
How serendipitous.
That is their narrative function in Dorohedoro, to just make stuff happen whenever the author needs it to happen for the story. And it's not annoying and it's not hackneyed and it's always amusing.
Shout out Q Hayashida, Die Dark fucking rules. I read a couple of their short stories the other day as well, some of the ones that I hadn't read. There's not too many of them. Obviously, Hayashida did that cool-ass Bloodborne cover at one point. She also did the short comic that came with the PlayStation 1 game Mockin' X Another, which is wild shit that just exists out there. Check out the short story collection. Hayashida is one of the best to ever do it. Hayashida, Halloween is for you. Let's take a break.
All right.
All right, Nate, before I so rudely tried to make the show about anime,
How could you do that? I tell you every week, I don't want to talk about anime ever again, and yet you keep bringing it up.
yeah, I know, isn't that so cruel of me? But unfortunately, I have watched anime, and I kind of want to do something with that. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Just sit there and know that I've watched an anime?
Oh, that the weight of that knowledge would sink your soul.
Yes, it would kill me if I sat there and watched the new Ranma and then said, hey, wait a second, and then went back and watched the old Ranma and realized the old Ranma is like funny and cool. The new Ranma doesn't show the nipples.
God, I hate that.
And then I didn't have anything to do with that. What am I supposed to just leave that in my brain, that knowledge, without doing anything with it?
Well, I mean, if you don't do anything, it will fester and rot the rest of your brain. So you best get it out now.
Exactly. So I need to talk about it at least once per episode. We need to talk about anime.
All right.
But
all right.
But you wanted to talk about something that's not anime.
I wanted to talk about something
time.
that was scary because it's Halloween, and we just established that anime not scary. Cartoons not scary.
Sure. We have talked about in the past why anime is not scary. You mentioned a couple of reasons earlier. I wanted to say the actual real reason anime is not scary is because all scary anime eventually becomes battle shonen.
Yes. Sometimes it starts off as battle shonen. Looking at you, Hellsing.
Yes. A lot of death games, my favorite genre, start off as scary and then just become battle shonen. Though you kind of expect it because it is death game. You probably are going to fight each other. But it's still a little disappointing when all your favorite characters start getting powers and shit. And they start doing JoJo stand battles.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it can be good. I'll roll that back. It can be good, but it takes some finesse.
I still read them.
Oh, yeah, of course you'll read them. Of course you'll read them. You need the slop.
I'll read 300 chapters. I don't give a fuck.
Well, what I was trying to get at was part of horror is creating narrative tension of trying to... the audience trying to figure out whether or not our characters are going to live or die in any given moment. And once you start handing out JoJo powers willy-nilly, it takes away the danger. And so, obviously, the way you undercut that, the way you keep the tension up, is by increasing the power level of the people that your now upgraded characters have to fight. Right? And it just goes in a cycle of escalation until we get full-on shonen battle anime with lasers and shit.
Yes. It becomes difficult because in your kind of J-horror, you are fighting curses that can only be defeated by intricate rituals, which is not battle shonen. In your Western tradition, you're usually fighting unkillable evil, which is mostly just running away. Occasionally, it approaches battle shonen, as we might talk about a little bit. But nobody ever kills Jason.
I mean, what about Chapter 4, the final chapter? It's called the final chapter. He dies at the end.
What was that, Part 6? Part 7? Where...
Part 7 is the one with the psychic little girl.
Yes, Jason eventually goes up against a psychic little girl who he has... shonen battles with, and people do not like that. It does not work. People don't like that. But in anime, they would eat it up. I think that's what we're saying.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
I think so. I think plenty of these, to use a trope name, final girls that survive to the end of horror movies. I think plenty of them would make good anime shonen protagonists.
Yes, the closest we have in a Western horror to a shonen virtue boy, your Tanjiros, your Narutos, your Ichigos, your Gokus, your Gohans,
Your Yusuke's.
your Yosuke's. your Deku's,
Your Jonathan Joestars.
yeah, your Jonathans, your Jotaros. He acts mean, but he is a justice boy.
What? No, Jotaro wasn't he wasn't a little virtue boy. He smoked and drank. He was a tough guy.
He was, underneath all the layers of crudeness, like he was at the end of the day, he was a virtue boy. He loved his friends and he fought for justice.
Well, he was a justice boy for sure.
Yeah.
But he had his vices. He wasn't all virtue. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, not all these final girls are virtuous either. Some of them aren't even likable.
True. That is true.
But they make it to the end.
I don't know. Laurie Strode in Halloween. Now, how do you peg her as a shonen protagonist?
Well, if we are talking about final girls as shonen protagonists,
and I'm specifying Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, not Rob Zombie, Laurie Strode,
not Poser Strode. Yeah, I mean, if we are talking about final girls, something like a Laurie Strode, if you are looking at Halloween through the lens of like a battle shonen, Laurie Strode would have to develop. I mean, she would have to be maybe either a shrine maiden or possibly one of those like martial arts high school girls.
I would go with shrine maiden, at least to start off with, because that conveys the the innocence that I think her character is meant to portray in that first movie. Right? She is the all-American every girl, and for whatever reason, the strange man in a mask, has centered on her to hunt down and kill. That's pretty scary.
Yes. Well, Laurie Strode definitely represents sort of the primordial final girl in that she's a little bit bland. She is sort of the Mario of like American high school types. Mm-hmm. The porridge is just right kind of character. She is virginal, which is what kind of makes me lean towards the shrine maiden aspect of her. But she is also not boisterous like her friends, right? Mm-hmm. She is not like irresponsible. She spends the night doing her job.
Not only her job, but she takes over PJ Soul's job too. That's why she gets killed. She hands off little Lindsay to the Laurie.
That's true.
And goes off to have a good time with a boy and see where that got her.
Yes, exactly. She is not an egghead, but she is smart. She has good grades. She dresses conservatively. She gets home before dark, etc., etc. She is the middle of the road. And so I feel like a shrine maiden is usually kind of the knowledgeable character, and Strode doesn't know anything until our Loomis shows up on the scene and explains the mythos behind Michael Myers to her, which is difficult to square with the shrine maiden aspect, right?
Now let me interject here. If we widen our scope beyond shonen, I think that Laurie Strode is actually better fit. And this is taking mostly from the H2O and the David Gordon Green timelines. But I think Laurie Strode is actually she's perfect for a death game candidate, and she's the character that is the survivor from the previous death game of our main characters, right?
Well, certainly in the new movies, in the newest trilogy, yes. She is absolutely the grizzled veteran.
I think she works great as the grizzled veteran type. I actually quite liked that aspect a bit from the David Gordon Green movies. Not a whole lot else, but I did like that. I thought that was kind of fun.
You didn't like Michael Myers passing on his psychic evil mojo onto his successor?
Okay.
Via a little bit of boyish wrestling?
That is surprisingly not the first time that has come up in the series of Halloween.
No, it's canonical.
It is canonical. Because if you remember, Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 5 passes on his murderous intent to his niece. Remember?
Yes, though that is really more Shrine Maiden shit, where it's like the reincarnation aspect of it.
Well, if you want to do it that way, then I think the Laurie Strode from Rob Zombie Halloween works better, because she is explicitly supposed to be the virginal, like, everyday American girl character, and also ends up being possessed by Michael Myers' murderous intent at the end of her arc.
I refuse to comment on those movies. I will not acknowledge Rob Zombie Halloween. Moving on, we have a lot more atypical. Now, this is one of my favorites because this is so close to already being Battle Shonen. But obviously, Nancy Thompson in Nightmare on Elm Street starts off as your virtue justice girl who fails to save her JoJo companions. And then this is so anime, evolves into the Dream Warrior, where she builds a new JoJo companion stall and teaches them how to use their stands. This is already so shonen.
See, that is the true anime moment, and I'm glad that we got to that one, because Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, like you said, is already 90% an anime. It is about a ragtag group of teens coming together to explore their psychic powers and use it to fight the evil dream man Freddy. How anime is that?
That's anime as hell, and also using dream powers has such an anime component to it already that is like so anime villain. He's like, I have power over life and death, over reality itself. And our plucky little hero has to be like, yeah, well, I can believe harder than you. Oh, you okay? But then it works.
I mean, that's how dreams work. Dream logic, baby.
Well, for some of them, it works for some of them.
See, for me, all it ever does is make my dreams that thing. You remember actually in Nightmare on Elm Street when they're trying to walk up the stairs and they get all goopy?
Sure, yeah.
That just happens to me every time I try and have willful intent in my dreams.
Yeah.
And then Freddy gets me.
Have you tried melatonin?
You know what? I'll try that. I'll try that out.
Yeah, you try that out. Kirsty Cotton from Hellraiser is sort of an interesting inclusion here because she doesn't play a huge role in her own movie.
No, she's kind of a passenger in the narrative of her own movie, because it's really more about how long can she stay away from getting tortured to death by the Cenobites until the puzzle box gets fixed or whatever. Right? That's what that movie's about.
Yeah, she kind of just like hangs out outside the house for a long time, like not wanting to go home. And then like in the last 10 minutes, she's like, oh shit, there's a horror movie happening in my house. Now, when the second one begins and she actually goes into like the Hellraiser universe and discovers that there is an entire shonen anime happening in there, now we're off to the races. Then we learned that Cenobites have anime-style tragic backstories that gave them their stand powers. She has to develop her own stand powers in order to survive the nightmare-scape that is the Cenobite world. You know, if this was even more anime than that, she probably would at some point be taught how to use the chains that like come out and grab people. That would be like a power she develops.
Does Hellraiser 2 count as an isekai?
I think so. Sure.
Well, there you go.
I mean, she doesn't get powers by going there. I guess that doesn't always happen with isekai.
They should make an official Hellraiser isekai where the guy, the main protagonist, thinks that he's going to go to some...
Pinhead?
No. Well, Pinhead's the icon, but our protagonist... the guy who gets isekai'd into Hellraiser world, you know, he thinks he's going to go to some fancy fantasy world with magic and elves and sexy cat girls, and he wakes up in the Hellraiser dimension getting, I don't know, his toes licked by Butterball or something. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Yeah. Well, there's about 80 Hellraiser movies I'm sure you haven't seen, so I think you could probably find one that fits the bill. No, that newest one, man, that was bad. That was real bad. I'm confused here with your inclusion of Carrie White, though, because as we know, Carrie White is not a final girl. even if we counted her as not the villain, she does die. She is very dead at the end of the movie. She does not make final girl at all.
Apparently somebody's never seen Carrie 2, The Revenge.
No, I haven't. I have not. She's the good guy of that movie.
That's where she comes back and uses her Carrie powers to fight the Demon King.
Now, well, there's a couple of puzzling elements of that particular conceit. One of them being Carrie White got her revenge. That was the entire point of Carrie. She gets her revenge pretty hard, like on everyone, even the people that don't deserve it.
No, revenge is just like a cool thing that you put, at the end of a title to make it sound cooler.
Who is she getting her revenge on, and what is she avenging at that point? Because she does kill every single person in town.
Who are the Avengers avenging? Huh? The word doesn't mean anything. So I think that Carrie White is a revenger. Yes.
The Revengeancer.
Yeah.
Carrie White, Revengeance.
Listen, Carrie 2, the anime, she comes back. She has resurrected in another world. She's isekai'd. Oh, Carrie would be such a good villainous protagonist, right?
I am a psychic villainess born into my favorite
Stephen King novel.
Well, I guess it would be like the evil pseudo Bible that her mom has.
I think you wrote that Bible yourself. I don't think that's a real Bible.
It's not a real Bible. We know that for a fact. It is not a real Bible. It is some other shit.
The Bible doesn't usually have a recipe for grilled chicken in it.
We do know that, obviously, Carrie White is the closest, as we've talked about before. She is the closest to an actual shonen protagonist, and that she does develop her shonen powers.
See, what I should have done, I should have included Firewalker on here. That's more shonen than Carrie, if we're being honest.
Firestarter?
Yeah, whatever.
She is very shonen. The least shonen aspect of the girl at Firestarter is that she gets her powers through a copious usage of LSD, which obviously we know no Japanese person has ever done.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, they don't know anything about it.
My favorite on this list, and I've talked about it many times, I'm sure, is of course the seminal 90s final girl, Sidney Prescott from Scream. I mean, obviously she is the ultimate revenger final girl in that she racks up a pretty good body count of villains by the end of the entire thing, which I guess is not the end because she is coming back in the next movie. So in that way, she is already pretty close to the kind of shonen ideal, in that in each movie she does develop a sort of like JoJo companion. She does develop her skills. She puts points into gun by the end of the second movie. Her XP is going up. By the third movie, she is like full on. She has like multiple guns on her person. Obviously, she's been hitting the range. She's got it down. She knows the rules, as we very famously understand. I think she has got, let's see, how many confirmed kills does Sydney have at this point?
She's got a graveyard full of them at this point.
Yeah, I think she has, in the first 3 movies, I think she has 5 or 6 at least.
Now, you see, I know that you're a big fan of the Scream series. I never got into it. Personally, I liked the ideas present in Scream better when he did them in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I think that is the far more anime version of that general plot. Plus, we get to go back to Nancy Thompson, now as Heather Langenkamp playing herself. Imagine, if you will, a live-action version of Perfect Blue, but it's self-referential with the voice actress Junko Iwao playing herself in the story. Like, that's basically what they were doing with New Nightmare.
It is certainly meta in a way that some anime like to get, and its use of villain escaping from some kind of like nightmare dimension. In that case, it is the nightmare dimension that is being a fictional character into the real world, where it can then wreak vengeance, is pretty similar to a lot of shonen. There are a lot of like nightmare creatures that exist outside of the bounds of reality into our world and then must be defeated by the power of friendship, which I assume is what happens in New Nightmare. It's been a little while since I've seen it.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens at the end, right? They defeat him with friendship.
Yeah, and then Wes Craven gets pulled back into the lamp so he can never make another movie again.
Oh, R.I.P.
Now here's a final girl that I threw on here because you mentioned her as analogous to Lara Croft. But this is Scarlett Marlowe from As Above, So Below.
Yes. I kind of argue against it as a final girl because much like when we talked about Prey, in Prey, our quote-unquote final girl, she doesn't, like, survive. She, like, full-on 1v1s a predator and wins. It seems like Final Girl's almost a little dismissive of what she does in that movie. And in the same way, Scarlett Marlowe, our tomb rating expert, she 1v1s an entire cursed temple, and she wins and saves her boyfriend.
Well, no, the boyfriend dies. She saves the French guy that went with them.
No, she saves the boyfriend.
I've got to rewatch that movie. That's a good movie. I like that movie.
She kills everyone else. She saves the boyfriend.
Okay, all right. Still, that's a lot of deaths. A lot of deaths.
That's a lot of deaths that she caused herself. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Scarlett.
Tomb Raider.
I thought it was funny you made that comparison considering that new Tomb Raider anime that's up on Netflix now, which we'll have to get around to watching at some point, I suppose.
Yes, and obviously they have done live action Lara Crofts, and apparently they intend to do so yet again. They are threatening us with yet another live action Tomb Raider movie. But As Above, So Below is the only Tomb Raider movie we actually need. It's done. It's done, folks.
Sorry.
And because it's not really like a horror movie, because again, it is a Tomb Raider movie, and as we know, Tomb Raider is not scary.
Tomb Raider's not scary.
It's cool. It's cool. She shoots T-Rexes and shit.
Runs on walls and does flips and stuff. It's cool. It's neat.
Yeah. It's dope as hell.
All right. Now, this is one that I wanted to make sure that we got to before the end of the episode.
Okay.
But I put it on here specifically because it already shares some similarities to a long-standing anime that some would consider horrific, I suppose. I put Tree Gelbman from Happy Death Day.
Yes.
Because her predicament kind of reminds me of... the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to go Subaru from ReZero.
Or Subaru from ReZero.
The more obvious poll.
We can apply both of them, yes.
Yes.
I suppose Isekai is more horrifying than Haruhi.
Well, the thing is that, and I do really like Happy Death Day, and it is probably one of the most well-known American death restart time loops. And obviously, ReZero is a death restart time loop with checkpointing, I will say, though, as a caveat.
Yeah, it's Dark Souls rules.
He does have checkpointing, which is a great name for a character, does not. She does not have checkpointing in that movie.
No, she dies and wakes up at the exact same point every day. No exceptions.
Yes. Now, she is not contending with a primeval elemental god. She's really just fighting off like one asshole. So it's a little bit, the stakes are a little different, but she does use the power much better than Subaru. Subaru fucking sucks. Like most of the time Subaru dies, it's because he got poisoned or he like trips and fall off a cliff or he takes a fucking ball and chain to the face.
He dies in an array of ways that really exemplify how much of an idiot he is.
Yes, he gets robbed like in an alley and stabbed to death at one point.
Which is like, I don't know, relatable. That'd probably be me in his situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. And obviously Tree does die in some pretty pathetic ways sometimes, but once she gets the hang of it, she's doing a pretty good job.
I mean, yeah, she's death looping that shit.
I think one of the problems with the Death Restart anime is that the kind of the biological incentive to not kill yourself is very strong, whether you can like logic your way into it or not. I still think people would have a hard time. This is something that comes up in To You the Immortal at one point.
Yeah.
And it's like still convincing somebody, hey, I'll bring you back to life, so just kill yourself is like, that's a hard sell, man.
Even if you've done it before, it's still going to be hard every time.
Yeah.
You know?
But Tree gets used to it very quickly. In fact, how many loops do you think Tree does in that movie?
Oh, gosh.
20?
Like 20, 22, 30? Somewhere between 20 and 25, I would say.
Yeah.
That's a fun movie.
She is very close to a kind of a shonen protagonist, but I would say even closer to like a visual novel protagonist.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good fit. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if we talked about this when we were talking about Death Restart originally, but the way a visual novel works is incredibly compatible with Death Restart. In fact, something like Higurashi, When the Cicadas Cry, is a Death Restart. Though the main character, I'm not sure, really catches on to that, but since you yourself as the player, again, are the main character, and you are Death Restarting constantly, it's pretty safe to say it's a Death Restart. And visual novels being like, hit a bad ending and then go back and play again is Death Restart incarnate. So I feel like Tree Gelbman, she's a visual novel protagonist.
Oh, man, I would love to do a visual novel playthrough of Happy Death Day. That works so well now that you've pointed it out.
I think you could really do it very easily. Like if you just went through it and did like very minimal choice, like kind of A through C choices through her day, you could create a very easy and fun visual novel out of that.
Do you want to go to the gym or the top of the clock tower or the graveyard?
I think they take it even further in the second movie, which is they almost talk about the mechanics of her Death Restart and time travel-ish kind of stuff as a visual novel in that movie.
A high concept sequel to this series would be a visual novel in the form of a DVD like scene selection menu.
There used to be stuff like that.
I know.
And they tried to do that with that horrible Netflix Jabberwock thing.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. That idea doesn't work, people. It's dumb. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, if somebody else did it, it might be kind of fun. But we do have visual novels. They already exist. You could just play a visual novel.
Yeah, but this one doesn't have Tree Gelbman.
It's true.
Classic horror icon in it.
You know what? If you went to itch.io right now, I bet there would be like a Twine game version of Happy Death Day on there. Or at least some Happy Death Day fan fiction that you could play. I'm going to search for it right now.
I went there and it said content blocked because of my ad blocker.
The problem is I think people have just ripped off the name Happy Death Day so many times.
It's pretty on the nose for the concept. I'm just gonna say, but it gets the point across.
Yeah, I mean there is a game called Happy Death Day, but it's not related to the movie at all, which is a real missed opportunity. If I'm a studio putting out a movie, I'm paying like some indie developer to make a game tie-in. Like that's a no-brainer.
It used to be a lot easier in the days of Flash, but they got rid of it. And we're all the poorer now.
Yeah, I know. When we used to have official tie-in games for like the Game Boy, and it's just, you don't do that anymore, which is a real shame.
That's the true horror of Halloween, is the time marches on no matter what you do.
Yep. Now instead of having a Happy Death Day tie-in game, we have a fucking KFC Otome game. We have a fucking McDonald's anime mini series. Happy Halloween. We live in hell.
Okay. All right. I think we've gotten the point across. We should wind down this Halloween spooktacular 2024.
All right.
You've scared me in my most vulnerable spot, which is my self-consciousness about my age.
Yes, absolutely. To wind down from how spooky our episode was, you should really go and play the ASMR Vin Diesel game where he DMs a game of D&D just for you.
Oh, God. Okay. I am in hell. This is hell.
That is, you really should go do that. That's a game by Merritt K on itch.io.
It's about family.
It's good. She's great.
All right, handsome and beautiful listeners, thank you once again for sticking with us through another journey of anime and of self-discovery on this most blessed of holidays, Halloween 2024.
Yes.
I hope that by the time you listen to this, you've gorged yourself on sugars and candied fruits and nuts and other types of things that a stranger may have given you in the last 24 hours.
Yes, milk and honey, whatever else we've fed you in order to make you more succulent for the ants.
Exactly. All right, check us out on TikTok, on Blue Sky. Download the episodes, give us 5 stars wherever applicable. Apple.
Yeah, download this episode.
Yeah, download this episode.
Listen to this episode.
Definitely. Don't stop downloading the old episodes. Just download this one a bunch of times. That would be great.
I will say, please don't listen to the old episodes. Listen to the new episodes. I'm not saying we got better, but
well, what are you saying?
I'm saying we weren't as bad. That's all I can say.
All right. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye. Try and do a spooky voice the whole episode. Whoa.